Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. And hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So I want to sort of welcome so many new people to the channel over the last month. So many people have been coming in here and not only come and watch, but also subscribe. But there are so many people that don't subscribe. Please subscribe. It's so easy. And of course, I do videos basically every day. I've been doing a lot of videos, probably 2 or 3 videos a day, pretty much. The last few weeks has been amazing how many people have been coming in. And we do like the debate here. We do like to have a lot of fun here. And of course, we have memberships here that I'm offering to you. And the best thing about the membership is it'll improve the channel in considerable ways. One, improve the video and improve the audio. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to get a computer. I would mention I do not need a loan. Somebody wrote to me today and he said, "Oh, you should get a business loan." I'm not getting a loan. And I don't need a sponsor to help me out with getting a computer. It's ridiculous. Because if you have a sponsor, that means you have a boss. I don't have a boss. I'm my own boss. But the Mets. We're waiting on Pete Alonso, and we're waiting to see where he's going to sign. I think pretty much everybody's in consensus that he's going to sign with the Mets. And I think, quite frankly, the fact in the latest video that I did that the Alonso camp came back to the Mets and said, "We have a 3-year offer only for you guys," tells me that he doesn't have any offers from any other team. I think they tried to throw this trial balloon of the Giants. That didn't work. They tried to throw out this balloon of the Angels. That didn't work. And the Mets have not backed down. Now, there's a certain number that this particular front office wants to give to Pete. And I would mention Pete had a good contract offer a year and a half ago. And that was before he hired Scott Boras, and he did not take it. And then he's hired Boras, and I think he's getting up there in age. I think he's really starting to screw up a lot of things here with some of these free agents, especially the mid-market guys, or the guys that are underneath the major players in terms of money. Now, Pete's a big star. He's a superstar, but he's a first baseman. And first base is not respected like it had been about 10, 15 years ago. And Boras even mentioned this, in an interview, saying that he understands that this is not the Prince Fielder market. That was after last week when Bob Nightingale revealed to everybody that they were looking for 9 years. And then they put the kibosh on it. They knew that Pete came across really badly and Boras came across really badly, that was not well received. And for obvious reasons, because he's not, at his age, he's not going to get a 9-year deal. He's not Albert Pujols, that's for sure. And he's not as young as Prince Fielder was when he got that big contract. And I would even mention, I don't even think that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will get a 15-year contract. I think he's going to try to look for 10 years, 15 years next offseason. He's not going to get it. He's going to be in for a rude awakening when it comes to the years, folks. I also would say, and I said this to my members in a video the other day, that if you folks that are complaining about Pete, that he's greedy, you would do the same thing he's doing, trying to get as much money as he can. And the main reason is baseball players and athletes do not play for that long a time. I mean, just to get to the major leagues is quite the ordeal for the average major leaguer. According to what the baseball union has said, according to, if you Google it, and as well if you go on X's Grok, which is their AI, you ask them and they tell you that the average major leaguer will average service time between 2.5 to 4 years. Okay, and the average is not 12 to 22 years like this dope wrote to me today. He's just looking at stars. Major league players do not last long in the major leagues, and they all know that. So that's why they're so trying to grapple and get as much cash as they can before they retire, because an injury could take them out, or production just dissipates. And that's also the tension between the star player in Major League Baseball and the journeyman. That's the tension that's also there. Because sometimes, especially in this last contract negotiation, there was a lot of backbiting by the non-stars in baseball complaining that they weren't being represented by the players, by the overall union. So, so just keep that in mind. Now, I would mention if you were in their shoes, you'd want that as much money as he can get in this situation. Now, Pete, he's played 6 years in the majors, all for the Mets, and now they're putting out predictions now. There wasn't predictions before. There's a prediction, and this I think is getting pretty close to the mark. And this is from SI, and they run through this. Pete Alonso predicted to sign this short-term deal with the Mets. Free agent first baseman Pete Alonso predicted to remain with the Mets on a short-term deal. I think we kind of understand that now. And then he just screwed up this whole free agency. We don't want to see him go to some team that doesn't care about him, With spring training on the horizon, one thing remains the same this winter. The Mets and free agent first baseman Pete Alonso have yet to agree on a new contract. After 6 seasons in the major leagues, Alonso's now a free agent for the first time in his career, but his free agency process hasn't quite gone as he or the rest of the league anticipated. Alonso's 2024 season didn't produce quite the same numbers he has strung together in past seasons, which is why in this latest prediction, the Polar Bear will end up taking a short-term deal this offseason. In a January 12th article, the Munchkin Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon of The Athletic predicted the 30-year-old slugger would sign a 3-year, $93.3 million deal to return to the Mets. Quote, agents, including Alonso's representative, Boras, routinely try to establish records of some sort in contract negotiations, the Munchkin and Salmon wrote. A $31.1 million average annual value would set a record for a first baseman, beating Miguel Cabrera's $31 million of AAV in his 8-year, $248 million extension with the Tigers that ran from 2016 to 2023. He's aged 33 to 40 seasons. Now, here's the difference between Pete and Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera is one of the great right-handed hitters in the history of baseball. Why? This is a guy who's won batting titles, 500 home runs, 3,000 hits. Pete's not going to do that. He might hit 500 home runs, but he's not going to have 3,000 hits. And Miguel Cabrera was playing at 20 years old. So he's a prodigy with Major League Baseball. It's a totally different scenario. This latest prediction comes after MLB analyst and former Mets general manager Jim Duquette, a.k.a. the guy that traded Scott Kazmir and one of the worst trades in Mets history, said in an X post on Friday that Alonso's camp reportedly offered the Amazons a 3-year deal with opt-outs. Just like this is like an offer you can't refuse. Despite hitting just .240 with 34 homers and 88 RBIs alongside a career worst .788, Alonso still proven to be one of the league's most prolific power hitters. Since making his major league debut in 2019, his 226 career home runs are the second most since entering the league that year, only trailing Aaron Judge. He's also just 26 home runs away from surpassing Darryl Strawberry for the most home runs in Mets history. And I would mention he's gotten to 200 home runs faster than Darryl ever did, and got to 100 home runs faster than Darryl did. And really, per game, he's gotten it faster. Because he would have gotten it if we didn't have the garbage 2020 season where we lost 100 games. Because he would have had those extra 26, 27, 30 home runs that year. A couple of things of note. In 6 of his years, 3 of those years, he's hit 40 home runs. Keep that in mind. 3 of those years hit over 40 home runs. In 2023, hit 46 home runs and 118 RBIs. So for that 218 batting average, which I believe was a symptom of one getting hit in the wrist by that skunk Charlie Morton, and of course having Daniel Vogelbach batting behind him in the lineup. You don't have that protection, you're gonna get screwed on pitches. And then I think a lot of the pressure of turning down the contract, it was just a big mess that 2023 season. And obviously, I think last year, he put a lot of pressure on himself. I believe he's going to be a Met. I think if we don't hear anything by the end of next week, if he doesn't sign by the end of next week, and we hit February, or get close to February, so next Monday is the 20th, the following week's the 27th. If we don't hear by the 24th that he's signed with the Mets, he's not going to be back. That's my prediction. If we hit February and he's not with the Mets, he's not going to be with the Mets, and the Mets are going to move on. You can't wait too much longer here. Before we know, it'll be spring training and pitchers and catchers. You can't have this looming over the club, and it's not going to loom over the club much longer. Like I said, if this continues, I've been pretty accurate about these predictions of mine. This is a prediction. If this is not resolved by not this week, not this Friday, but the following Friday, January 24th, he's not going to be a Met. So we got 2 weeks. We have about 12 days to get this resolved. If it's not resolved by then, he's not going to come back. And the Mets are going to move on. They're going to say, we need a first baseman. We'll sign Bregman, put him at third, put Vientos at first. They'll figure something out. Or they'll go with a mishmash of players and see if they want to bring in Cabrera Jr. next year. But that is a big if too, because I'm not sold on the fact that the Blue Jays are going to let him go. Okay. Does a Canadian team want to lose another Guerrero? This will be the second time that they lost a Guerrero. Do they want to do that again? Does a Canadian team want to do that again? I don't know. And I'm not 100% sold that Guerrero Jr. wants to play for a big market. But we'll see. The first things the Mets have to do is worry about this year. Don't worry about making some big trade. Guerrero Jr. is not getting traded right now, in my opinion. They're trying to negotiate a contract with him. Okay, but what's going to happen now, like I said, again, just to repeat myself, I hate repeating myself, but I'm going to repeat myself. If we don't hear back that the Mets have signed Pete by the 24th of January, he will not be a New York Met. That's my prediction. Because he's got to get ready, and this club's got to get ready for spring training within the next month. It's about 31 days, 32 days. So that is getting awfully close to the edge. Going past the New Year is one thing, but getting that close to the end of January and a big player hasn't signed, a player of this caliber, a player of this importance to this franchise, this is like chicken right now, you know. And we're going to see who's going to blink and who's going to swerve the car out of the way. You know what I'm saying? But again, we have memberships on the channel. Please become a member. It would be a great way to improve the audio and the video. The video will help, and the audio will help. And I don't need a sponsor. I don't need a loan. Just become a member. It's very simple. And again, if you keep coming in here and you don't subscribe, it hurts my feelings. No, really. If you subscribe, it's a great way to get all kinds of videos here and fun here. It's a very different channel. So, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you later.